So this time around we want to connect our React front end to our Go back end. And I'm going to do just one of the REST API routes, the one that lists all movies. In order to do this, I have to have my React application open in one window in Visual Studio Code. And in the other one, I need to have my backend. Let me find that. This one right here. I have to have my backend actually running. So I have my backend, the Go application, open in one window, and I'm going to run it. As you can see here, go run./cmd/API. That will start the application listening on port 4000. Now I'm going to hide that because I just want it to run in the background. And back here in my React application, I'll open a terminal window and run npm start. And that should fire up a browser window with our application running. And there it is. So let's go back to our code and start making some changes. So I'll hide my terminal window. Now right now I'm looking at the component movies.js, and this of course is the one that lists all of the movies. And I need to make some changes here because right now in the component did mount, I'm just hard coding this value. So I'm going to delete that entirely. I don't need that anymore. And I'm also going to make one change to the state. I'm going to add a member to that, or add a value to that, okay? And I'll show you why in a second. So movies will start as an empty array. And I'm also going to add this because I'm a paranoid sort of person. Belt and suspenders when it comes to any kind of network programming. I'm going to add a value here that says is loaded. And it's just a Boolean, and it will default to false, okay? So that's available to us in our state. And inside my component did mount, I'm going to do this. I'm going to call fetch, just like we did in the first React application we built. And I'm going to fetch our root, http://localhost:4000. And I want version1/movies, plural. And that's the list of all movies. And then, of course, I have to call .then and say, when you get the response, turn that into response.json. And after that's done, .then, at this point, I'm going to say JSON is fed to this code. And what I'm going to do with it is pretty straightforward. This.setState, and I'm going to set the state for two things. The only two things in my state. The first one is movies, and that's not equal to JSON. Don't forget we wrap that, and so it's equal to what's inside of JSON.movies. Right? Our wrapper is called movies in the JSON file. And now I'll set isLoaded to true. And here's why I'm doing that, okay? So this component did mount fires. It goes to the API. It gets the necessary information. It populates two values in our state. And down here in the return, or in the render function, I'm going to read a couple of values. So I'll declare constant. And I'm going to take from state these two values, movies and is loaded. Now I could just go state.movies and so forth, but this just makes more concise code. So those are equal to this.state. So now I have two variables I can use. And I'm going to execute a simple if statement. If, and this is why I'm having the isLoaded variable, if not is loaded, then I'm going to return, I'll just return a paragraph of text. Loading, like that, okay? Else, and I'll return this. And of course we have to make a change down here as well. So that goes here to close this. Let's format it all and make sure I have my braces in the right spot. Looks good. So I'm not going to go over this.state.movies.map. I can just say, I can get rid of this.state. And say movies.map. And everything else should stay pretty much the same. So let's save this and switch to our web browser and see how it's working. So everything should have reloaded. I'm going to open the JavaScript console just in case there's an error. And I'll say go to movies. And there are all of my movies. And you can see in the console here, we got our request using XHR. So it fires off as Ajax and we get a response and everything looks exactly as it should. There's all of the information that I need. Well, perfect. Well, that wasn't difficult at all. Now, there's some other things we need to do here. As I said, it's good to be paranoid when you're doing any network programming. So we probably should add some error checking into this, and we'll take care of that in the next lecture.